Welcome back to a podcast Orange, everybody. It's good to be here. I'm your host, Tom Crescento, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jack Siegel. How's it hanging, Jack?
It is hanging good, Tom. How's it going with you?
Pretty good. What do you mean by hanging good?
I mean, it's just hanging good. I was going to say it's hanging well, but I want to be grammatically incorrect there.
Truthfully, hanging well kind of sounds weird, too, when you think about it. It's like, how's it hanging?
It's hanging well. What is that? Where did that start?
It seems. I feel like it started with two Klansmen just asking each other the status of like. It's like, how's it hanging? It's like, I don't know, man. I told everybody that rope was no good.
They're asking the status of a lynching.
Yeah, that's just like, yeah, how's it hanging? That's where it started. This is the history of racist white America.
So you guys are learning something.
Yeah,
this podcast is educational.
Yeah, Podcast Orange will soon be moving to PBS.
Yeah. Be right after Sesame Street.
Right after Sesame Street. All right, it's good to be back, everybody. Yes, it's a Podcast Orange, your local Phish appreciation.
Oh God.
Podcast. Anyone like Phish? I mean the band Phish.
I like some Phish in terms of the food.
What's your favorite fish to eat?
You know what I really like? I like a good halibut.
Gay.
You don't like halibut?
I like a halibut.
Halibut?
It's like the gayest choice.
What's your favorite fish? Okay.
Probably fluke.
Yeah, that's not gay. I like fluke.
Fluke?
I like fluke up my asshole.
Fluke is because the gay version of fluke is flounder.
I like to suck a
flounder.
Fluke.
It's like a flounder, but fluke is like, yeah, I like fluke. I'm heterosexual.
I'm a man. I definitely don't like sucking a fluke's dick.
I definitely don't like fluke cock.
No, but Phish the band. Listen, I know that I have friends here right now that listen to Phish, but no, I'm not a fan of. Well, we're not crazy about Phish.
Basically, what Jack is trying to say is he knows he has friends who listen to Phish. He just doesn't consider them people per se.
No, I love you guys, but all right. So let me take you back on a story of Phish. Is that when I was in college, a lot of my friends tried to get me to listen to Phish, and I went to a bunch of shows, and I had fun. It was mostly because I was hanging out with friends and doing psychedelic drugs, but at the same time, I don't know, man. The music is just kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, boring. It's just boring.
I mean, yeah, Phish is like
it's boring.
Phish is like the most basic of like stoner bands to choose from. Yeah, it's like if someone told me if someone was like, I'm into stoner music, and I was like, what band do you like? And they just show me like a Phish like CD. Like, that's the equivalent of someone being like, yeah, I'm really into hip-hop. It's like, oh, yeah, what are you into? And then they just hand you, like a literal Puff Daddy album. Yeah. It's just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
or they're like, I love rock. I love Zeppelin, so I'm not even going to say it. But, like, it's like, we all know one guy in high school who, like, started smoking weed, and then a month later, they were wearing, like, Phish tie-dye shirts every single day, and that became, like, their whole personality, is that they just, like, developed, like, I'm just the stoner bro, man.
Like, yeah, bro, it's all about freedom and expanding your mind and doing heroin before you're 19.
They became basically like Hyde from that 70s show, minus the rape.
Yeah. Honestly, most likely including the rape in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so many of the songs just go on forever, and you're just like, is this over yet?
It's like you're basically just standing there like, yeah, I can play the same 5 chords for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could do that. Like, I don't need to pay any money to do that. I could do that alone without
I just feel
Phish.
Like the Grateful Dead is the same way. I know people are gonna hate me for this, but
who's gonna hate you? Like fucking 68-year-olds? Jack!
I mean,
I really love the podcast, but what you said about the Dead...
There's a lot of people our age. Back. There's a lot of people that love the Grateful Dead.
I used to follow the Dead.
Listen, to be honest, there are some Grateful Dead songs that I really do enjoy. But a lot of it is just like, you know what it is? It's mainly the guy's voice.
Jerry Garcia.
Yeah, Jerry. It's just this.
I mean, yeah, he sounds like a guy who is doing. He sounds like a guy who is doing just as many drugs as he was doing.
Yeah, he's just like, I can't believe people are listening to this.
Like people like, because at the time people forget like the hippies were popular, but it wasn't everybody. Like some people thought that like hippies were just straight up like dirtbags and losers.
Yeah.
And if there's any band that like proved that stereotype, it was the Grateful Dead. Because their fans were just these, like, mongoloids who would follow them for, like, miles across the country. Like, literally following their van, just doing any possible drug they could find on the road. Just hoping that along with the Dead, they're just going to discover the next generation of communist America or something.
Well, you know, like, the thing about jam bands is that I don't hate all jam bands. I really enjoy listening to this band Humphreys McGee, but I think there's more going on with that band. There's more different instruments and blah 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 blah. I like the Allman Brothers a lot, but was that real?
That's not really a jam band. That's just like a rock band. If anything,
they have more. They're like on that verge.
They might have been like like influential in that regard.
They're like country rock.
It's weird to call them a jam band. Yeah, like putting them in the same category as Phish.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't even know. That's like putting Phish in the same category as Black Sabbath just because it's weed music.
Phish
like,
it's just so.
Like, I have a friend.
Exhausting. I'm like, I have to like take a nap every time I listen to them.
Yeah, right. It's like, I don't know if it's supposed to make me feel high, but I definitely feel like I want to sleep.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not like you can't like dance to it or like you know.
I mean, I have a friend who like he's totally sober. He doesn't smoke weed at all, and I don't even think he really drinks. And, like, his favorite band is Phish. It's so weird. Like, he's like, bro, I fucking love Phish. Like, I have all their albums. I'm like, dude, like, this isn't even cool if you do smoke weed anymore. You know what I mean? Like, how could you be this behind? And he's like, no, dude, it's really good. And
I mean, there are a lot of people that really love Phish. Like I said, like, we all have friends that really love Phish.
I mean, yeah, we all have friends that never went to real college. Like,
you know. I mean... What are you talking about? You
like
went
community college?
No, well, you know, no. These were like at a SUNY.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of Jack's friends. You're all
these people are listeners. You're gonna.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
They're
gonna come to my house and rape me.
And yeah.
Please don't rape me. Any friends of Jack Siegel, please.
Well, it can't be rape if you enjoy it. But hey, no,
Bam,
Phish
bam.
stinks though.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of that fucking redhead guy. What's his name?
I don't
Trey. That Trey Anastasio. Who's just...
You officially know more about Phish than I would expect from someone who hates them this much. You're like, yeah, you know the front man of 13 years? There used to be an old one back in the first four demos.
That fifth
he
album,
sucks.
You know that 8th song on that 5th album? There's you know in 92 when they went to Tampa Bay and they were...
You remember back in 1991 when they played on the first Lollapalooza?
No, they...
You remember how awful that was?
I know a bit about Phish, but they're just not great. You know what it is that it's nothing can ruin a party more than when somebody's like, hey, let me put on some music, and they're like, all right, and then they put on Phish, and they're like, fuck.
It's like, what are you doing, dude? Yeah,
like,
that's why whenever somebody says a girl's like pussy smells like Phish, like I don't think of it in
band.
it's the band. I don't think of it in actual Phish. It's just like, oh, like the smell of your pussy is just as unpleasant to me as the band Phish.
What would you rather listen to? Like if a girl, if like a stoner dude puts on Phish, or like if a girl puts on, like a basic bitch puts on like Taylor Swift or Katy Perry at a party?
To be honest, like at least Taylor Swift and Katy Perry has like structure.
That's true. There is like a beginning, middle, and end.
At least it seems like it takes some level of talent.
Well, there's like you know when the song is like wrapping up, and you're like
I'll admit they're not the worst band. Like I'm certainly rather listen to Phish than like a lot of
Dave
stuff.
Matthews.
Yeah, Dave Matthews, or like I would rather listen to Phish than like Ed Sheeran or something that shitty. But they're just a shitty band. But like whatever.
21 Pilots or fucking One Direction or. What's that?
One
There's
Direction.
like a South Korean version of BTS now.
BTS. It's just literally just a bunch of Korean guys just like, you want to fuck us!
We are a boy band!
You want to fuck us!
We are a boy band too!
You little girl, you want to suck our penis?
That's what they say to the groupies back there. You suck our penis now!
It's just like hyper speed, like electronic music. And they're just like, you want to suck our penis?
What other we could fill a whole hour talking about music that sucks.
We could. I mean, regardless, like, I don't care how many people make shitty music as long as none of them run for president.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is good music out there, but as long as none of them, run for president, have mental breakdowns on stage. Yeah. And we're talking, of course, about Donald Trump. No, we're talking about Kanye. I thought we
were talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine, actually.
Oh, sure.
No, we weren't. We were not.
I didn't know where to go with that.
No, we weren't. Like, we can talk about that dude another day. But Kanye is, the only reason we bring him up again is because last week, the last week, we thought he dropped out, but apparently he didn't. Like, I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
I can't really tell if he's actually going to become the president. Like, at this point, anything could happen. Because I always said Trump could never be president. But Trump has now been the president for 4 years, so it's like,
I don't think.
Who knows?
Kanye, the thing about it is, I know we've already talked about it in the last 2 episodes, and I promise it'll be the last time we talk about Kanye. But it's because Tom is like a super fan of Kanye.
Oh my God.
So.
Oh my God, he's running. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
But, like, so the thing about Kanye is that he was on stage. I read an article that he was on stage, and he was, like, crying. And he's having a mental breakdown, and he was complaining about Harriet Tubman, which is like, I love how it's like that's the person who chooses to criticize somebody from the 1800s.
Like I just imagine if you paid money to, I don't know if this was at a live performance. Like, I mean, I don't really know much about this, but imagine if you paid money to see Kanye. Like, I've been waiting my whole life to see Kanye. Like, a huge fan. Like, I brought a blunt, like, his face a blunt when he goes on stage, and then he just gets up there and he's just like. It's just like what is this?
Yeah, no, it's just like, I love it. It's just like, I'm going after Harriet Tubman. Like, what's next? You're going to go after fucking George Washington Carver?
He's going to go after fucking Frederick Douglass at his next show. Yeah, like, he's literally just going to go after every really important, like, black figure in American history until
I think he just doesn't want, I think he's just doing it for the publicity, but he doesn't really want people to vote for him.
I mean, I genuinely think it has to do with his mental health at this point. Like, Kim Kardashian put out, like, a public statement asking, like, basically a cry for help, like, literally just like, please, this guy is not well in his head, could somebody please help him? Like when Kim Kardashian's trying to get you help, that's when you know, like, when a Kardashian expresses human morality, it's time to come back to earth.
Because that's the thing, I feel like at this point, I almost feel kind of bad making fun of the guy, even though he's like a millionaire and whatever. He's like a legitimately insane human being. And it feels like you're just making fun of a deranged person, which is like, it's like, it really is like, talk about punching down. That's about as much as you
right.
do.
Like when I make fun of Kanye, I feel like I'm making fun of like a little kid with like Asperger's.
It would be like going to a psychiatric ward and be like, ha, look at all these patients here.
It'd be like watching a dude with no arms try to tie his shoes and just laughing at him because he can't. Just like, you can't do it. You just can't do it, and you're trying so hard.
It's just like there's no joy to be. Like, the guy needs help, and I really hope that, like, I hope he just drops out and goes to an asylum for a while and just gets. We're not a psychiatric ward.
We won't beat this into the
PC term for it now.
We won't beat this into the ground, but we just really hope that Kanye gets the sex change that he needs.
Yeah,
and
become Caitlyn West.
Make it full circle. Oh God.
But you know what? I'm happy about this episode because we talk about like topical shit all the time.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about my favorite thing in the entire world.
We're changing it up, folks.
We're talking about movies.
That's right. This is a new thing where I know you're used to us acting like just, spending most of the podcast acting like douchebags, talking shit about stuff. And I know we already spent 13 minutes still doing that. But this is a new front.
13 minutes of 13 episodes.
This is exactly. This is a new front. In this episode, Jack and I are going to talk about some movies we really like.
Yeah.
We're going to compare some movies that we think represent genres the best.
And me and Tom are huge movie buffs. So
We're huge faggots.
You guys should be like really grateful that we're sharing some knowledge with you. Yeah. So you're welcome.
Take it. This is the history portion of a podcast. Yeah. Orange. It's time to take out the notebook, guys.
Yeah. This is for you.
Remember in high school? Imagine you're trying to copy a PowerPoint slide right now, but instead it's just the glorious rhetoric of this beautiful piece of audio that we're delivering to you.
Instead, it's just us pontificating up our own asses.
Yeah, we're basically just literally shoving each other's heads into each other's asses. Like, I like that one too. Oh my god, it's such a good movie. Yeah. The acting. But yeah, I mean, you know what? It's just because, you know, a lot of it is just dark shit that we talk about, and it's a lot of like boohoo and, you know, complaining, and it's
women suck.
Yeah, it's weirdly a lot of like deep seated like misogyny. I don't know.
That was last episode. I was listening. I was like,
Jack had just gotten denied by like a Tinder match, so he formulated this whole story about a stalker to try to give himself an excuse to shit on women. No,
it's all in my own head.
Yeah,
but like the Norman Bates of this podcast.
Exactly. Hey, there's a movie reference.
There we go.
So we may do this more, depending on how it goes this time. But
I love, you know, we're like, this is great. We're gonna basically, the way we're doing this is we have a genre, we're like a subcategory of a genre, then we each say our favorite of the movie, and we talk about why and this and that, and spoilers ahead. So
definitely. I mean, at this point, like, it's the internet age. You're going to be spoiled on everything at some point. Just accept it.
Then again, if you haven't watched Jaws by now, like...
right. Like, if you really have to worry about being spoiled in Jurassic Park... Like,
how are you even alive without having... You ever want to see somebody like that? I know that people always say, oh my god, you haven't seen that movie. But, like, certain people that... Like, how do you go, like, your whole life without seeing certain movies? It just seems like you should just...
I mean, some movies I get, like... There's people who tell me that they've never seen The Godfather, and at first it's like, what do you mean you've never seen? But then at the same time, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Not everybody was raised by a bunch of fat guineas forcing like red sauce down their throat and giving them wine to drink when they were 5 years old. Like, you know, it's not like, like certain movies are generational and they're hugely influential when we talk about them, but they're not necessarily on everybody's like
I think The
rotation.
Godfather, though, is a movie that like everybody has seen.
You say that, but I didn't see it until I went to college. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing. Like, if you don't go to college, like, if you don't actively seek out that movie or decide to watch it on TV when it's censored and shitty, like, you're probably not going to really watch it. So I think it's like, it depends on the movie. Like, yeah, if someone honestly told me they didn't see Jaws or at least didn't know what happens in Jaws, I would be like, what do you mean? Like,
or like most of Spielberg stuff.
There's some movies I'll say it's inexcusable to have not heard of them. Like, if someone said they didn't hear of The Godfather, I'd be like, how would you at least not have heard of it?
That doesn't make sense. I mean, nobody hasn't heard of it.
But meanwhile, we might just be these old fucks, because I'm sure there's some, like, 16-year-old twat walking
Everybody's
around high
heard
school.
of The Godfather,
like, what the fuck is that shit, bro? I've never heard of that.
Dude, if nobody's
Have you ever seen Fury Road, bro? That's the greatest movie of all time. Mad Max Fury Road.
I love Mad Max Fury Road.
I like it, but, I don't know. It was good. It was an action movie.
I mean, yeah, it was a great action movie. You know.
But I don't know. Action movies I'm always just like, cool. It's like, it's kind of, for me, comparing action movies is like comparing roller coasters. Like, I would never, like, yes, I would say I love this roller coaster. I certainly enjoy some roller coasters more than certain movies. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to interpret a roller coaster for the piece of art that it is.
No, that's too much of a generalization. Some movies are... You know, you're being too much of a piece of shit right now.
Well, I think you're making a good point, Jack, and I respectfully argue that you should suck my dick.
This is the way.
Suck it until it rips your back molars out.
This is like how Siskel and Ebert used to talk.
Yeah, right. It's like, no. See, the problem, Gene, is that you're a fucking asshole.
See, Roger, you need to stop being such a fat cunt. That's what.
Who are you calling fat? You cancer-having piece of dog shit. I hope that cancer kills you.
That was what Siskel and Ebert would say when the cameras weren't.
Yeah, rolling. When the cameras weren't rolling, Siskel and Ebert were very different.
Have you ever watched Drive? Drive is like an art house action movie.
All right. I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist.
Great movie.
I'm saying in general, like most action movies I see, especially new ones, it's like, you know, like I like them. Like, but you know, say even with like Avengers, like I like all the Avengers movies, but I'm not gonna like. I don't agree with Martin Scorsese that those don't count as like cinema.
No, I don't.
I'll just say they're not like. It's not like those aren't like films and like they're just not like, there's nothing like artistic about it, which isn't to say that movies have to be artistic. It's just that's a different type of experience.
It's a different type of movie.
I go to it's a popcorn movie or whatever.
But like the thing is, I don't agree with Scorsese because like a lot of the Marvel movies I do really like. But I think most of them suffer from the same problem.
I mean, that's only you only like them because you're a loser. No,
yeah, I'm a nerd.
No, but I mean, some of them are good. Some of them are bad.
But the thing is, I think a lot of them suffer from the same problem, which is just they're too bloated and they're too like. All right.
The comedy always ruins it for. I think one of the main things that killed a lot of like, not the movies themselves, but at least a lot of the scenes in the Avengers was like the terrible like comedic attempts like. Like it's just
I like some of the jokes. I like Robert Downey Jr.
I like some jokes.
Like that snappy,
I'm not even saying comic book movies can't be funny. I'm just saying like the Disney manufactured comedy comes out in the new Marvel movies. It's just so cringy and awful.
Well,
and like,
a lot of them feels like it feels like you're going to like a chain restaurant. And like a lot of it has this like corporate. Like you said, like manufactured feel.
It just it doesn't feel natural. Like there was one scene in the last Avengers movie where Thor was like meeting his mom or something in like the past, and he's just like, "I'm not from the future," and she's like, "Oh, you're my son. I know you the second I see you," and then he's like, "I'm totally from the future," and like the whole crowd is like, "Ah ha ha ha," and I'm sitting here like I snicker. I'm like, huh.
That's
it's just like I don't understand where this roaring laughter comes from.
Well, there are certain jokes that make me like laugh. Like I remember in the Infinity War when they had Peter Dinklage's cameo in the movie as like the giant guy, and there was a scene when like he was with Thor and Peter Dinklage is like this might kill you, and like Chris Hemsworth is like, but if I die, and then Peter Dinklage was like, yeah, that's what killing you means. And like that was funny just because the way he delivered the line. But even
that, I'm just like, it's just like, it's funny, but Peter Dinklage can make anything great.
Yeah.
But it's like, comedically and writing-wise, it's just like, people don't talk this way. Like,
no, yeah.
And it's also, I don't know. But you know what?
But that's people don't have to talk that way.
I guess, but before we meander further, this is a good topic to start off with. So, Jack, what do you think the best comic book movie is, in your opinion?
Woo-wee! Okay. The greatest comic book movie of all time. And my pick is going to be super generic. So I don't care if it's generic. Fuck you. It's my choice, and I'll pick whatever the fuck I want to. I'm not talking to you, Tom. I'm talking to the douchebag hipsters.
I didn't think you were talking directly at me right now.
I'm talking to the fucking hipsters that are listening. You judgmental fucking bitches. Fuck you, Moskowitz. I'm talking to you. I don't know why. He's like the nicest guy. I don't know why.
Yeah, John. John's a good dude.
Yeah, I like John. No, I'm kidding.
But I don't know, John. I don't know your taste in movies. I imagine it's like what movies do you think John likes?
He likes any movie that has a rape scene.
What?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah,
we have him on the podcast.
One day, John.
What kind of movies do you think he likes? Like fucking.
I don't know. I imagine The Social Network is up there for him for some reason. Like I don't know why.
Documentaries about factory farming or something.
What? maybe like some. Maybe like a documentary about Monsanto or some shit. We love you, John.
All right. So I think, honestly, The Dark Knight is the greatest comic book movie of all time. And here's why.
Interesting.
Because it's like you make an adult... It was the first comic book movie to be like straight for adults. And you can make an art... Because I also love the original Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Also a great movie.
I think that's like the perfect comic book movie, and I think that's one of the only comic book movies that's made that's like through a director's own specific vision. And Tim Burton had a very specific way he wanted that to be made, and had like the best Batman and the best Joker. But the reason I love The Dark Knight so much is that it has just like this level of intensity with every single scene, to where you watch it and you're just like in a trance. Like I always there's certain scenes which I'll literally just watch on YouTube. Sometimes I'll just be like, I want to watch that scene again. Where like I specifically remember
you just unbutton your pants and you're like, I
oh my
wait.
God, it's so hot.
I can't wait to watch the interrogation scene. Oh yeah.
No, honestly, that scene is because it just like if you watch that scene, the way the score changes and the way the intensity I think a lot of that has to do with Nolan's direction, the score from Hans Zimmer, specifically also that scene. Remember when Joker goes and interrupts the party that they're having, and you just see it, and there's a pin drop, and nobody moves, and a lot of that was due to the fact apparently that nobody was allowed to see Heath Ledger in the Joker makeup before that scene actually happened. So when especially Maggie Gyllenhaal, so when he came out, that was the first time anybody had actually seen him wearing the Joker makeup, and people were like, what the fuck? And he was so terrifying, and the way the camera spins around, making the intensity greater, he goes to Maggie Gyllenhaal is like, you want to know how I got these scars? And she's just looking and she can't really look at him because she's genuinely frightened in real life. And just the way the music, everything about it's great. And there's been a lot of fan theories that the Joker in that movie is an Iraq war veteran, because he has a lot of knowledge because that's where like his philosophy comes from, and he has a lot of knowledge of weapons.
I feel like I created a monster with this topic.
And so
it's like Jesus.
I'm just gonna drone on.
What do you think Heath Ledger's dick looked like, for fuck's sake?
Probably huge.
Do you think? Yeah, probably girthing and very inviting to my mouth.
Well, that was Oh God. Wait till we talk to Tom about Roy Scheider's old
boy,
dick.
Can't wait till
Tom's gonna suck on.
All right. So what I'm taking from this is that you think the Dark Knight is the greatest comic movie.
So what do you think?
Because it
did. So you were cutting off my beautiful.
I'm sorry to cut off your sermon. We have a lot of topics.
All right.
But yeah. So you think it's the best? Give me like a one sentence reason as to why you think it's the best comic book movie, in your opinion.
A movie that never lets up the action, not the action, the intensity, and also acting is perfect.
All right, so I would. Here's the thing: I love The Dark Knight. It's in my top 10 favorite movies, and I actually think it's better than the movie that I would choose as greatest comic book movie of all time. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I just personally think that this is the movie that actually made a comic book into a movie. It made a movie that looked like I was watching a comic book for real. And that's Sin City. Like, I remember when I first saw Sin City, like, here's the thing, as a plot and a story, it's nothing that crazy. Like, it's good. The storytelling is good, and the characters are all great and memorable, but it's pretty simple. It's nothing that compares to the gravity of The Dark Knight. Thank you for burping during my...
Sorry.
I gave you a whole, 30-minute spiel, and I couldn't
besides all the times you kept interrupting me
I couldn't get 1 minute. I could get 1 minute without, sorry. I had to drink my beer right now. Excuse me.
You mean you all the times you interrupted me? Fuck you.
All right. I'm sorry. But anyway, here's the thing about it. It's like, it's not that crazy, but what blew me away about it is like, it actually looks like you're watching a comic book. It looks like the film, it actually looks like somebody opened the pages of like the first 3 issues of Sin City and you just walked right into it. And I've never seen a comic book movie do that any better, including The Dark Knight and including even the old Batman. Like, it just, yes, the old Batman is a close second for me because that one, Tim Burton's direction style makes for the comic book feel very well.
And that is the best Batman.
Michael Keaton is by far the best Batman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christian polyps over in
I like Christian Bale, but he plays the character too much like Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's also, and it's also just, we could go on, but regardless, what I love about Sin City is how it actually just makes it seem like you stepped into a real comic book world. And no matter how old the movie gets, because of the way it was designed stylistically, the effects never look bad. Because, obviously you can tell, like, that, we have better effects now, but it's supposed to look kind of like a comic book or like a drawing anyway, so it works. And on top of that, there's just so many badass scenes in that movie. I mean, holy shit. The character, Mickey Rourke as Marv, might be my favorite, comic book movie character because he's not even, a hero. He just fucking slices people's throats because he fucked one hooker one time and she got killed and he just has to get revenge. The reason I would pick it over The Dark Knight is because while I think The Dark Knight is a better movie, I don't think it's a better comic book movie. Because a lot of times when I watch The Dark Knight, I feel like I'm watching especially in the scenes when Heath Ledger's not involved, I feel like I'm watching a very pretentious crime drama. Which is like, it's still good, but it doesn't come off as a comic book film. It comes off as like a cop movie from like the late 90s or something. Which is still, it's not bad. That's just not what I look for when I go to see a comic book movie. So that's why I would pick Sin City for that. Have I changed your view? Or?
No. Because here's what.
Well, fuck you.
No,
I thought I had you.
I appreciate what you're saying. No, I think about The Dark Knight, the reason it's so great, and I will say that, yeah, the Joker definitely overtakes the Batman as being the more interesting character in the movie. But I do like how it changes what you think of as a comic book movie and into like something more modern, and it kind of gets you like right from the start, and like the way it opens up. I like Sin City. I don't love it, and I think the problem with it is, I don't know, it's too like, I thought for like too much of the movie was just like kind of, we're gonna fucking beat people up, and it's kind of just like, it was kind of
it's very childish. I'm not gonna say it's
exactly,
like I said,
like not like simplistic, but like
I said, it's a very childish sort of film. But like, what I do like about it is how it actually reflects the way the comic is. Like,
I love the cinematography,
almost word for word. Actually, like, there's only a few scenes that they cut out from certain stories, but like, yes, it's childish. Yes, there's a lot of like. It's a lot of like, the man needs to avenge his honor for the woman. It's a lot of that bullcrap. Frank Miller, as much as he's a great artist, is definitely a toxic human being. But
I didn't know that.
No, yeah,
I just liked his work. I used to read his shit all the time.
Yeah, great writer, terrible all around otherwise. But still, I would say Sin City. If I had to pick a close second, I would say the 1989 Batman, and then. I don't know. As a third, it's tough because truthfully, I'm not a huge fan of comic book movies. But, it's tough.
See, I would choose a second to cut you off.
All right. I don't even know if I have a third, so it's fine.
You know what movie I love is Watchmen.
Oh, you know what? That might be my third. Watchmen was great.
Because I was obsessed with Watchmen in high school. And so when the movie came out, I like the way you're describing Sin City is that it feels like a comic book is exactly the way I feel about Watchmen.
Watchmen does a good job too. I think the reason I would pick Sin City is because I haven't read the Watchmen comics, but I know from what I've read about them that the film is not fully accurate to what the comics have written. But that's the only reason I would give some points to Sin City. But you're right, Watchmen does feel like a comic book too. Watchmen. I like that about Watchmen because
I feel that when you're like, I hate when people are like, this didn't happen in the book. It's like, yeah, it's a movie. They're making their own choices. They're not exactly.
Yes. And I'm not saying comic book movies have to be like 100%, like identical to the source material. I'm just saying the way it was done with Sin City impressed me to a point that I have yet to be impressed with other comic book movies.
I loved Watchmen because I actually think that some of the changes they made almost help the movie, like, because it's interesting because it's like the way that he made the movie, there are certain things about it that it's like he couldn't have adapted from the book, and like he needed to adjust the material in a way to make it a great movie. True. And I feel like and if anybody ever says like Zack Snyder's a fucking hack or whatever, I just watch Watchmen.
I mean, I think most of his movies are not that great, but he does have Watchmen. He does. But yeah, we should move on. But you know what? Maybe we could do a fun thing where we like in the comments or something. We could like you guys could vote for your favorite
comic book movie
or of something of the category. We'll see.
Smash that subscribe.
Depends
button.
On how fucking smash that. Do me a favor and rape that motherfucking subscribe button for me.
Also,
do me a
Joker.
Favor.
I would actually say Joker. I love Joker.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it as one of my favorite comic book movies.
And I don't know about that, but okay. Well, let's move on anyway.
Yeah, but
because I was also gonna say Spider-Man.
Yeah, but regardless, definitely. Yeah, also good movie, but regardless, do us a favor. Tell us your favorite comic movie and bind, gag, chloroform, and violate that subscribe button for me.
Yeah, leave that subscribe button for dead.
Yeah, leave that subscribe button with new holes.
Make that subscribe button have to cry in therapy every
Yeah,
week.
make that subscribe button cry in the shower. Okay, all right. Okay, next topic. What do you want to do? Just think of a topic. I mean, this is the first time we're doing this.
Best war movie.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Go first.
All right. I'm gonna pick one that's like. This is a movie that I'm only picking. I know most people are not going to know what it is, but I'm picking it because I actually recommend this film to everybody. I think you should watch it. And it really is one of the most horrifying films I've ever watched. And it's disturbing, but I think because of how disturbing it is, because of the topics it deals with, it needs to be watched. And of course, that is none other than Bucky Larson, Born to be a Star by Nick Swartz.
No. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's brutal stuff. No, truthfully, all right, my favorite war movie of all time, I actually saw recently, and it is called Come and See, and it's from Russia. It's a Russian movie. It's in Russian, and it's basically about, literally, it's just about Nazi occupation of Russia during World War II. And it literally shows, Nazis pillaging Russian towns and, massacring entire populations of women, children, and shit. And it's all seen through the eyes of this kid who tried to join the Russian army at a young age because he wanted to join the resistance, and he wound up getting sucked in he wound up getting sucked into it and basically seeing all the horrors, literally witnessing enough horror to fill 10,000 years just into the eyes of this 9-year-old. And you watch the movie, and I just never seen a war movie that actually makes me feel like I'm in the war. It's kind of like what I said about comic book movies, Sin City makes me feel like I'm in a comic. Come and See makes me feel like I'm in Russia in 1938 or whatever, just waiting for the fucking Nazis to come pillage my fucking family. It really is a gripping movie, and people will say that Schindler's List is the most disturbing war movie, and yes, Schindler's List is disturbing, but I think Come and See might have it beat. It truly is a gripping piece of cinema, and I recommend it to anybody who has a stomach for it. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
If you hate foreign films, you're not gonna like it. But in my opinion, that's the best war movie because it actually it truly shows what is horrifying, the reasons why war needs to be avoided at all costs, what actually is lost from humanity. So that's my pick.
Well, if you hate foreign movies, you should just die, because that means you're stupid and you can't read.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the fact is, a lot of the foreign movies I've seen are better than 90% of American
I don't know
shit
about
movies.
That, but
a lot of them.
I mean, I don't know. But what's I love the idea that a war movie that because the best war movies make war look realistic, which is horrible and disgusting, and it almost makes me think of another war movie that was from Russia. That this was much older. It was called Battleship Potemkin.
Oh, I've heard of that movie. I want to watch it.
It's a silent movie, and what it really shows, and it's a call to arms. It's basically a propaganda movie done in the best possible way, because it's about a boat full of Russian Navy sailors, and they just get treated like shit, and they show the brutality of the czars, and it's about the Russian communist revolution, and it's showing how they all get together to defeat the man, and it shows really incredibly well how these people abuse the citizens. And for 1925, it's really fucked up.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Is that your pick?
No, my favorite. I'm just saying, in terms of another good Russian movie.
I just wanted to get more than one movie on this one.
All right, sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I was just saying.
I actually appreciate that because I've heard of that movie.
It was called a response to what you're saying. I'm saying if you want to talk Russian shit, there you go.
You're right. Maybe I'm the asshole in this one.
So,
I'll give it to you.
My favorite war movie is Platoon. Of all time, my favorite types of war movies have always been Vietnam War movies for some reason. I was contemplating this and was like, which one do I like more? Because I also love like The Deer Hunter,
Ooh.
Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, they're all so good.
But Platoon for me is the best Vietnam War movie and the best war movie because, and this is, by the way, I'm going to spoil this. So if you haven't, fucking fast forward to the next topic if you haven't seen it. But the end of the movie, just shows like how. Have you seen Platoon?
It's been in such a long time.
Okay, I love at the end. Like, it just shows, like, the pointlessness of it all. Because there's just this field full of dead bodies. And, like, Charlie Sheen is there with, I forget who. But, he's the main character. And they're like, we won. And he's basically like, yeah, but who gives a shit? Like, what's the point? We just killed a bunch of people. And, like, for what? For a cause that we have no part of.
Yeah.
And it really shows just the chaos of it, because it was based on Oliver Stone, the director who was in the Vietnam War. It's directly based on his own experiences of the Vietnam War, and it just shows the chaos, because like the war scenes, some people will criticize because it's like you can't tell what's happening, but that was that was the whole
war.
point, is that, in war, you can't see, like, all this shit.
Could you imagine being in, like, a war and you're on a battlefield and it's like, we gotta move? It's like, I don't know. I don't really like the direction in this part.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like...
I can't really tell who's fighting who.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of noise in the background. Like, that could have been edited out in post. It's like, we're dying!
Like, no, yeah, we need to... But no, Platoon is great. And also it has the dichotomy of Willem Dafoe, who plays, like, this really cool, I guess he's a sergeant. I don't know what the fucking ranks are. But he's, like, there's this great scene when he invites Charlie Sheen into their tent, and he's hanging out with the other ones, and he puts a gun in his mouth, and he pulls a trigger, and just weed smoke comes in, and they start smoking weed through a gun. And Tom Berenger plays, like, this really sadistic sergeant who's all about control. And it shows, like, the two different types of people that you'd find in the military. And I don't know, it's a great conflict, and it really shows you, like, what it must feel like and just how pointless and destructive of the war, the Vietnam War is.
True,
so,
yeah.
There we go.
That sounds like a good one. I'm glad you mentioned Apocalypse Now, because that's a fucking good movie, too.
That movie's like a drug trip.
One movie I want to send an honorable mention to that I forgot to mention, another good movie. Very unique war movie, also foreign.
War of the Worlds.
Yes, War of the Worlds. Yeah. War of the new version with Tom Cruise. Truly the greatest depiction of the conflict in Iraq.
Yeah.
But no, actually, it's this movie called Das Boot, and it's a German movie.
Oh yeah.
And it's basically a movie about World War II from the German perspective, but obviously it's not in favor of the Nazis. It was made in like the 80s, but like. It's basically from the perspective of a team of, like, a German submarine team during that time. It's like 3.5 hours long, and basically you're in the submarine with this crew the whole time. And it's just one of those, like you see all kinds of war experiences acted out in movies. Like you've seen the trenches, you've seen, like, Predator drones, you've seen people flying planes, you've seen people on the front line, but you never really, like, see movies that accurately depict, like, the plight of being in a submarine, just fighting for the mother country at the seas, and, like, watching these dudes sink to almost, like, unrisable depths just to avoid being killed by enemies. And I'll spoil the ending, because the ending just ends with them. They finally, like, get back to the harbor, literally after, like, 8 months of just, like, being underwater, essentially, just not knowing if they're ever going to get back home, not knowing if they'll ever, like, rise from the water at times. They finally get home, and it's, like, a big celebration, and then they just get bombed. Yeah. And it just ends with the submarine sinking, and it's just,
and
like...
it was just all for naught.
Literally, it was just, at the end, it's just, like, it was worth nothing. Like, all that work, all that manpower, all that time lost...
Yeah.
To nothing.
And you just
to be
die
bombed.
In the end.
Yeah, so that's a good one too if you're interested. But let's move on to the next topic. What do you want to do? We have a couple.
I'll let you choose the next topic. I chose the last one.
Let's see. Why don't we do best gangster movie while we're here? We can do best gangster movie. Best gayster.
All right.
Best gay movie, Brokeback Mountain.
Here's going to be a nice argument.
Yeah. So what do you think the best gangster movie is? You go first.
Well, also, this pick is also going to be super generic, but it's true, okay, that The Godfather 1 and 2 are the best gangster movies. And, I mean, people have gone on and on and on why. I think it's the pacing. It's just, like, it really just takes you through, like, the family through these decades. And I always wonder which one I like more, 1 or 2. And 1 definitely has a...
2 is really fucking good.
Yeah, well, the thing is that 1 is more of, like, a positive, ends on more of a positive note.
I don't know about that.
But 2 is, like, very bleak, and Francis Ford Coppola made it that way because some people criticize The Godfather 1 as being too much of a celebration of gangster and glorifying.
Well, because the thing, that's what I was going to say. 1 doesn't end happily. It ends with him basically becoming the Don after having lied to his wife about committing a murder. Like, it's not like, it's not a happy ending.
But it's like a triumphant
thing. It is kind of like, it's like, wow, he
kills
wins.
the 5 families. Yeah, he kills...
It's like, oh, there he is, the winner, the bad guy.
Yeah,
like, that is, but go on.
So, but 2 is like, it's just a very bleak ending where, what's it called? He ends up, like, just becoming a shell of his former self. It just ends him, like, staring into this space, like, catatonic, because he had to kill his own brother, and he, his wife had an abortion. It's just, like, really fucking depressing. And I gotta say, like,
it doesn't necessarily make me want to be a gangster.
No, it's like this is really what it's like. But I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know which one I like more because it's hard to say.
I could say they could be both seen as a really long ass movie.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to just watch them back to back, like.
But then again, like, because I read somewhere that I thought it was a good analogy. It was saying that, like, The Godfather is a lot like, it tells the story of the American economy, how it goes from Marlon Brando has this more, like, family-oriented vision. Like, he never wanted to sell drugs. He never wanted to get down and dirty. So it represents, like, this mom and pop stores, but is being replaced by Michael, who is basically like this sort of ruthless corporation.
I could see that. That sounds like a bit of a stretch, but I could see that, especially because of the way the film starts. It starts with a guy saying, "I believe in America." Mm-hmm. Like, that's the beginning. So I could definitely see that. But I will disagree with you.
And Goodfellas also is, like, I don't know. So it's hard to say.
My view, now this is a controversial pick, but in my opinion, like I said, this is another one where I actually think The Godfather is a better film overall than my choice for best gangster movie. But my choice for best gangster movie is Scarface.
Boo.
And fuck you. You can literally suck my dick all the way to your lower intestine.
Blows.
You can suck my dick. I hate you so much.
Scarface
Let me
fucking
before all right, I'm going to strangle this kid. All right, before we get into that, let me explain why. It's not the best written gangster movie. It's not the best acted gangster movie. It's not. Here's the thing. It's not even the smartest or whatever. But what it does for me is it's solidified the cultural gangster identity in the American mindset better than any other film, because Tony Montana truly is a character that you become attached to, for better or for worse. And unlike most of the characters in The Godfather and most of the characters in Goodfellas, there are redeemable things about Tony Montana. He kills people all the time, sure. He's a bastard. He screws people out of shit. But he has limits. Like, there's a scene where he refuses to assassinate somebody because there's kids in the car with him, and he doesn't kill children. He just says, like, I won't kill 2 kids and a woman. Fuck that. So it's like the only he's one of the most badass gangsters, but it's the first one we've ever seen who had a kind of, like, moral complex where it's like, I'll do almost anything to get to the top, but not that. I won't step across that line. I've stepped across every single line you can think of, but not that. And what I love about it is that even though he's a horrible person deep down, you root for him, and it's like to me, a movie that could affect you that, like, emotionally is, whether it's necessarily good or bad in the end, is a powerful film. And what for me makes Scarface the best gangster movie is, like, to me, like, when people think of the gangster, like the tough badass who just mountains of coke on his desk, money bags, women, and anything he wants. they're thinking of Tony Montana. Like, you might think of, like, Marlon Brando in The Godfather, like a dude stroking his cat with people.
Think of Tony Soprano.
Or whatever, Tony Soprano, maybe, if you're a loser. No, okay.
You never even watched The Sopranos, and you call yourself a guinea.
Fuck The Sopranos. All right, I'll watch.
Fuck you.
I will watch. You know what? The Sopranos is essentially the Italian Game of Thrones. Everybody says I need to watch it, but I'll get to it, all right?
You're never going to get to it.
Oh, fuck you. I don't need to. But anyway, that's why I think Scarface is the best gangster movie. Because it's the best, like, for me, he's, like, of all the gangster characters that there's ever been films about, he's the most fun to watch. He's the one I most actually, like, wanted to see what happened to him at the end. And he gets exactly what he deserves at the end. He gets gunned the fuck down. Yeah, he kills a shit ton of people and goes out with a bang, but he just gets gunned the fuck down and winds up with his face down in a pool of bloody water with a mountain of cocaine on his desk and a bunch of money that's not his in the back. It's like, it's just, that's what I like about it. And, like, you know, like, it just makes me think, like, you know, it's just, I'm Tony Montana. Don't fuck with me.
But, like,
don't fuck with me, bro. Don't fuck with me.
I take exception to the idea that the characters in The Godfather have no redeemable qualities. I think Vito is a very likable, like, he has
yeah.
And same with Michael. Even, I think, especially Tom Hagen, the most ruthless of the characters is Sonny. But he was my favorite character because he was the most entertaining.
Michael probably is the most ruthless. He kills his own brother.
Well, that's true, but that's more in 2. And in 1, Michael is but I would say that Sonny was always my favorite character. That's because he was the most entertaining. He was a hothead, and
but that's the
never
thing.
Knew what he would do.
If you want that hothead for the whole movie, watch Scarface. Like, that's Scarface.
The problem with that movie is that represents the point to where Al Pacino stopped being a good actor and started being a cartoon
I still
character.
think he was good in that movie. That was his last decent role.
The top.
It's not that bad.
It's so
he had worse.
Fucking bad.
He had worse
it's
after.
It's a terrible performance.
It is not the worst Al Pacino performance ever. It's not bad.
It is like
he does some parts fine.
He actually comes back in the 90s with some good role. Like in the 90s he was great in like Heat. And I love him as Satan in The Devil's Advocate.
What? You think that was a better performance than Scarface?
Well, at least that made sense because he was literally playing Satan. So
yeah, but that wasn't even
supposed to be over the top.
Wasn't even acting. It was just a joke at that point.
He was supposed to be over the top.
No, but like Scarface was like, yeah, that was the beginning of that. But I still think he did a good job in the movie. Like the scene where his friend is getting like sawed in half with a chainsaw in front of him. Like he acts the fear. He still acts the fear very well.
Why do people speak English in Cuba? What the fuck kind of bullshit is this?
Oh, don't give me that crap. There's plenty of movies you like that fucking don't.
I'm not saying that. It's just the same.
What about? Are you telling me that you're not gonna watch like Star Wars anymore because the aliens all speak English? It's
no.
Like, come on. Are you not gonna watch fucking?
True. But it's just
the dumbest point.
It's like crass 80s. And I don't like how it's become like this thing where every douchebag in college has like a poster of Scarface.
I mean, fine, but every douchebag in college has a poster of Jimi Hendrix too. It doesn't mean he sucks.
Okay, valid point.
Yeah, so fuck you, and you can suck me off. Scarface is great.
Scarface fucking blows.
Scarface, I literally hate you.
I hate you.
Well, you're a bitch.
You're a cunt.
Fuck you. Like,
fuck you.
Don't fuck with me.
Fuck you.
Don't fuck with me. I'm Tony Montana.
At the movies with Tom and Jack.
Yeah, this is Siskel and Ebert rebooted 2020. That's
hey, fuck you.
Fuck you, you piece of shit. It's good. But,
no, it's not.
I'll say this about it. Love or hate Scarface, like, even if you think it's a bad performance, you can't deny that it's fun to watch.
Oh,
you gotta love Tony
Montana.
I
don't hate it
he's
the
awesome.
way I hate
like,
some...
You can literally, like, yeah, sure, it's over the top. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, what a brilliant Cuban accent. But, like, yeah, it's a fucking fun-ass performance. Like, he gets into it, and it creates a character.
I like when he's dancing. Yeah. He's like retarded.
Yeah.
He's like having a spaz attack.
So he's supposed to be a semi-retarded Cuban guy. So what? What is the problem with retarded characters? I would say in terms
of De Palma gangster movies, I like The Untouchables more. Even though that's not even really from the perspective of the gangsters, it's more from the cops.
That's more like a cop gangster movie. Like,
but De Niro as Capone, I mean, that's fucking amazing.
That's
when he bashes that guy's head on with a baseball bat. That's a good fucking
pick.
Awesome.
Yeah. Still though, I love Scarface. And
All right.
Jack is a pussy. Jack's a giant pussy. So we should.
I
move
love
on.
Pacino movies, like in the 70s.
You ever seen Serpico?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Or Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of heist movies, because then he's a bank robber, but then it's not in the Heat. He's a cop. It's like it's a reverse, man.
It's like it twisted. Yeah, twisted. But either way, Jack is gay for not liking Scarface. Moving on.
What's the next topic?
So yeah, next topic. What do we want to do? So we did war, we did comic book, we did gangster. We're at like about we've got a little bit of time left, so we could probably hit one more topic and then save the rest for next time.
I just have Tom says A Christmas Story, and then he says, I hate that Jack likes that movie. Well, first off, you have no soul. That's why
that movie.
That's why the only music you listen to is like music for white supremacists.
First of all,
you have no soul.
You can literally
at all.
swallow my cock.
Dude.
I'm not gonna sit here and listen to
a cynical person.
I'm not gonna
the fact that you don't like A Christmas Story.
I'm not gonna sit here and listen to one of the people who. Literally a descendant of one of the people who killed Jesus tell me that I don't have a soul. First of all.
You do not have a soul.
Second of all, Christmas Story.
You came from an Axis powers.
Here's why fucking...
Look,
you're never going to tell me that I'm white. But what... Look, Christmas Story sucks for one reason and one reason only. It's boring. It's so boring.
You're boring.
It's so overrated. They play it like...
You're overrated.
Your mom is overrated. I should know. I had her last night.
Miss Siegel is a nice woman.
Listen, it's just a fucking... This is quick. I don't want to dwell on Christmas Story too long, but they play that movie. There's a channel that plays that movie like for 24 hours, 7 days a week, every day for Christmas season. No movie needs to be played for that. The greatest film ever made doesn't need to be played 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I love how
I just don't understand.
Ends with like a wholesome racist joke, though. That's great. You gotta love it when they're at the Chinese restaurant and all the Chinese waiters are like fa ra 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 ra.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking fucked up, honestly.
I think that's hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest. That might be the best part of the movie.
Dude, there's so many great, memorable parts of that movie.
Yeah, but it's just like there's so many better. Like I don't know, whatever.
It's not the greatest Christmas movie,
but that's the way it's treated.
We'll talk about the best Christmas movie next week.
Yeah, but whatever. So we'll if we're gonna move on.
You have no soul.
You are a monster.
You have a black hole.
You're not gonna sit here not liking Scarface and telling me that Christmas Story is good while being a Jew and not expect me to want to punch you in the face.
Fuck you! I'll punch. We're gonna fist fight.
We're gonna fight over this. Over movies
from 1983.
Over Christmas movies.
Movies that were made 10 years before
July.
we were born.
It's July, by the way.
Yeah.
So what topic do you want to end on, our last?
I don't know.
We didn't plan this.
We did not plan this. We spent 15 minutes ripping on Phish. So I don't know. What do you want to choose?
Let's go with best like
Let's spend the next 5 minutes.
Best like coming of age movie.
Coming of age.
Yeah, coming on face.
Now,
movie.
okay, why don't we define
coming of age
for the audience what a coming of age movie is?
All right, you define. You could define it because your life seems like a coming of age movie.
You haven't even came of age.
You didn't come until you were 19.
Oh my god, dude! you come on little kids' faces every day of the week.
Everyone's got a hobby, all right.
That's true. Sorry for shaming your way of life.
Yeah, no, don't kink shame, bro.
It's not kink if it's illegal. Coming of age movie is a movie that's basically set in high school or some shit.
I would say it's a movie that's like, it's really just about like, it's like a movie that's about like a transitional point in a young person's life. So like in high school,
transitioning from Tom to Caitlin Crescenzo.
Yeah, exactly. Transitioning from Jack to Jasmine Siegel, you name it. Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm a woman now.
All right, why are we arguing?
We're not. This is not an argument. I'm just ripping on you.
You're Caitlin.
There's no argument
Shut up,
here.
Caitlin.
Fuck you, Jasmine.
Why am I Jasmine?
All right, whatever.
All right.
Because it's Jack. Whatever. Why am I Caitlin? You would at least do Tammy for my female name.
No, you're Caitlin.
All right, whatever.
You seem like a Caitlin.
All right, so coming of age movie just means a movie about young people like realizing shit and realizing like, yeah, this is the point when my life changes. I don't know. It's a high school to college age movie essentially. So what do you think?
My favorite coming of age movie. Again, we're choosing movies from 1983. Wow. Oh my god.
Are we?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Maybe.
Risky Business. I love Risky Business. It is the perfect 80s movie. The score, the performances, just the idea of like this overachieving kind of like nerd who learns to get, more laid back. The basic plot of the movie is that his parents go away for a week on vacation, and the opening scene is great because it's a point of view shot, and his parents are both like these very strict people, like, don't do this, don't touch the stereo, don't do blah 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 blah, and they're taking him through the airport. He's like, yes mom, yes dad, and then he's like, he has these friends who are kind of like slacker kids, and they're like, you need to loosen up, man. So they go out, and one of their ideas is to get a prostitute. I'm glad you're fucking texting while
Sorry.
I'm talking about it.
I'm not. I am interested. I promise.
He's talking to one of his 6-year-old girls. So he's
look. You're not gonna judge me and Chris. Okay.
That's true.
Me and my buddy Dalia, we have a strong legal team.
So risky business. So their idea is that he gets a prostitute, and he gets this prostitute, but he develops a relationship with her, and she's a young girl, and his pimp, though, it causes problems because she basically starts hiding from him. Her pimp is played by Guido the Pimp, played by Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, Joe. Who's that?
He's had a lot of roles. He was in Memento
as John
G. He was in The Matrix as Cypher, and he played the psychopath Ralph Cifaretto on The Sopranos. He's had a career of playing great villains. Anyway, he does an expert job, and the idea is that they develop. He basically becomes a pimp throughout the week, and he makes a lot of money, and has a great message. One of my favorite quotes of the movie is that sometimes in life you just gotta say, what the fuck? And
good message. If you have nothing else to do, start pimping. Start selling women.
It's a great, and the way that it creates this feeling of anxiety while watching it, because you see this character and he gets in more and more trouble, and he gets over in his head, and there's this great scene when like he is late for his midterm, and he's just like talks to the teacher. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm late. He's like, can you just please like give me a break? And he's just like desperate at the point, and the teacher just says no. He's a fucking dick. And like I don't know, it's just a great movie, and the way that it's like has this like 80s synth score to it. It's I remember watching when I was really young, and I was like kind of like, whoa, this is awesome, and I rewatched it, and it has like a lot of rewatchability to it, and they sort of remade it in a way in a movie that's also incredibly great and underrated, called The Girl Next Door, from 2004. It's basically has the same plot, except for instead of a prostitute, it's a porn star, and you should also check that movie out. So that's my choice. Tom, what's your choice?
Well, I would say, coming of age, truthfully, like, this is a topic of film that I don't always love them. Like, a lot of times I think movies like this are shitty. Like, The Breakfast Club, I think, is a terrible movie. Like Superbad is funny. I think it's a hilarious movie, but I wouldn't say it's, like, all that great of a film. But, there is one movie that I always think of when I think of this genre of movies that still really, like, hits home, and it really does kind of, like, represent something that I think a lot of people in our age group kind of feel and relate to, and that is, of course, Bucky Larson, Born to be a Star by Nick Swardson.
I mean, it just has the
greatest film ever.
Isn't that plot like he has a tiny penis?
Something like that. I don't even know. I haven't seen it.
It's like the opposite of Boogie Nights. Like he has a really small dick or something.
I just remember having a friend who loved that movie, and I'm like, I don't even need to see it, but I know it's probably trash.
I need a new friend.
Yeah, right. But anyway, no, really the best, in my opinion, this is kind of a weird choice because it's sort of like an immediately after coming of age movie. But I would still consider it in the category. I think Clerks is probably the best.
Huh.
Only because, like, it sort of represents, like, a state of life that I'm in right now. Like, it's just about this 22-year-old kid who's, like, he's been graduated from high school for a while. He didn't really, like, I guess he had college plans, but it didn't really take off. And he just, like, works at this store. And every day it's just, like, poor me. And he's like, why does it have to be like this? I wasn't even supposed to work today. But, like, really the movie doesn't have much of a plot. But through the sort of events of what goes on and, like, the struggles he deals with just, like, going through his day of work and, like, hanging with his friend who just comes through the store and bothers him, like, he just kind of learns that, like, life is not about, like, sitting around and complaining about, like, the position you're currently in. Like, it's not about sitting here saying, like, I can't believe it's like this. Like, I wasn't even supposed to work today. I don't know why I have to come in. Like, if you don't want to work, you have to quit your job. Like, get a new job. And it's not, like, just quit your job and it'll be fine. But it's more just, like, there's a lot of like initiative people can take in their lives that they, it's at that young age that it's the most important that they do take that initiative, and they let themselves get caught up in like the sort of meandering kind of like state of everyday life, and they start to think there's no hope when really there's plenty of hope. It's just it all centers around what you want to do as a person to work to achieve the goals you have. And Clerks is a movie that, as silly as it is, like it's because it really is a silly movie with not much of a story, and like the characters are all memorable. But that's what makes it so great to me, is that it still communicates a powerful message while being so silly and still just so enjoyable to watch for young people. Like getting stoned and watching Clerks with your friends when you're like 17 is awesome. Like for the first time you did it, it's hilarious. And it's like, and you walk away from it thinking like, oh, that wasn't just like a dumb comedy. I was expecting like a dumb comedy about some like kids who work in a convenience store, but it's more than that. It's like, it's about a stage in your life where it's very easy to get caught up in feelings of hopelessness. But really all you have to do is take the steps to actually force action in your life that you can achieve the things you want. And that's why I think it's a good coming-of-age movie. There's no other coming-of-age movie that really communicates a helpful message, in my view.
See, I think
like
that's
most
why
of them are just like
business.
Maybe
it's all about taking control.
It's been a while
and
since
just
I've seen that movie.
letting loose and not like letting other people dictate your expectations. I would also say a close second for me is Almost Famous.
That's a good movie.
That movie.
That's a good movie.
That movie is like a fucking just a hug. That movie.
Yeah, just a hug.
That movie
is
hug like
to people like me.
No, that movie honestly is like like I know people almost don't like this term of like it warms the heart. You know what I mean? It's a movie that you feel.
Not to sound like a complete queer or anything.
No, it's like it reminds you that you are a human being and you have emotions.
True.
And you get like genuinely choked up at certain parts, and you're just like that. That was sweet. That was a movie that you feel like, aw, and you know what I mean.
True.
And it just like it's all, and every scene is great. There's so many memorable parts, and it's all about music and the appreciation for it and like why people love doing it so much.
True.
And I love Almost Famous too. So we're at like an hour and 5. We didn't do nearly as much as we thought we would be.
I mean, truthfully, I think this is a good cap. I mean, we got some good got some. We managed to get that burp in the episode.
Second of the episode.
Yeah, good job. All right. Well, I guess that concludes this episode of A Podcast Orange. Tried something a little different this week.
Born to be a Star.
Remember, please watch Bucky Larson, Born to be a Star by Nick Swartzen. It is the greatest film ever made. Period. Exclamation point. No argument. Don't even try.
Ricci is in it.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Did you just look that up? Like,
no, I remember because I saw the movie too. And
you're like, I remember from the 47 copies I have.
Don Johnson is in it, and I guess they're like, this guy's name sounds like a porn star.
Let's get him in the movie.
I'm Adam Sandler. I'm so funny.
But yeah. Either way,
fuck you, Adam Sandler.
I had fun with this. I think this was good. We'll try to, we'll space these out, but I like these sort of these are more kind of low, down to earth kind of.
Yeah, it's a break from having like the constant racism and misogyny.
Yeah, it's a break from Jack and I just constantly being problematic on here. So it's good to take a little rest to ease out a little. Maybe I'll do something when we post it where it's like you can pick your favorite movie from topics, vote on it. Depends on how lazy I am.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It depends how much of a cliche we feel like being.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you all for listening. Have a good night. Any last words, Jack?
Go die.